Today, we're going to be sitting down with Amelia. Now, Amelia is an extremely confident person that lives life the way that she wants to, and I find that extremely inspiring. So, in today's episode, we're going to be sitting down and figuring out where she gets that confidence from. We're going to be going over her childhood, her values, why freedom is so important to her. And at the end of the episode, she's going to give us the 8 best jobs that she's had that have helped her build that confidence. So, I hope you stick around for the end, and I hope that you enjoyed this episode of the Friendly City podcast.
I grew up really weird, and I grew up in a family band. We traveled a lot, and actually my parents joke that my first trip was to the U.S., so they were missionaries in Costa Rica in the 80s, and I was 6 months old when they came back. But yeah, so I grew up traveling. I grew up in a really weird way, but what it allowed me is that I just, when I was homeschooled for a long time, and when I actually got into like a system, I was like, this doesn't work. This doesn't make sense.
Into like a public system?
Yeah, public system.
Okay,
so,
coming from homeschool.
and I went in 7th grade. But one, I watched my dad love what he does. He's a singer, and he also goes into prisons and sings. And I've never heard him complain ever about work. He loves it.
Wow.
And
That's so rare.
it's
Number
so
one,
rare.
like finding people that do what they love.
Yes.
Every day with the passion, and then not complain.
Yeah, and
Both
not
of those
complain. And then also hearing often like, I can't believe like I get to do this. So watching that, and then also just how we grew up, it was so unstructured, and for me the best kind of way that when structure was put on me, I hated it.
Yeah, I can relate to that.
Yeah, uh-huh. So I think those things really informed what I wanted when I became an adult, which was to have freedom to do what I want. And not like, I didn't need a big life. I've never wanted a big life, but like having a life that like I get to decide what I do.
Yeah.
And of course there's been many bumps along the way, but yeah, I am successful because I get to do what I want.
Yeah.
And that's what informs me. Yeah.
I hear a little bit of emotion when you say there's been a lot of bumps. Can you tell me a little bit about those bumps? What kind of bumps are we talking about?
What great question. So, I mean, definitely when I was in my 20s, it was just getting to a point where I could be my own boss. And that means like I've done so many different kinds of jobs. And all of them were jobs that they didn't require a lot of, what's the word? Commitment.
Commitment? Okay.
Yeah. And the reason was I didn't want to commit to anything that was too much for me. I liked traveling, especially in my 20s. So I wanted to be able to leave when I wanted. So I had a lot of jobs that were possible because of that.
Do you feel like that limited what you could have done?
Like doing those kinds of jobs and not commitment.
You were not down to like commit to like
yeah,
say an accountant or something that was more.
Yes, but also I'm kind of joking, but the thought of doing like a 9-to-5 kills me.
Yeah.
And to this day, like and it's not that I've told people often, anybody close to me and myself, that I just wish I was normal, because it would be so much easier than doing what I do. However,
yeah, I was
on
about
the
to
flip
push back.
side, I also watch a lot of people be miserable, and they don't know how to change, and they don't change their circumstances, and they don't know how to do that.
And I would argue that being normal is being miserable because that is the norm.
That's very true. Yeah.
Like that most people are not happy with their jobs.
Yeah, it's true.
I wish I could state some statistic that I knew off the top of my head. But it's like most people, when you look at life and just see them, like they're not chasing their dream. They're not.
Yeah.
They're just kind of working 9-to-5, slowly dying inside. It's kind of sad that's the reality. But no, being normal is not standing out. I can't imagine. Maybe it's because I'm a middle child, but I can't imagine not standing out, not being like I'm different. Because like my whole life growing up, I just wanted to be different, and I wanted to tell and show people that I was different. I changed my name in middle school because I wanted people to know I'm not just Mark.
What was your name in middle school?
I added an I in between the R and the K. Because in
Wow.
Russian, a lot of people say Marik. So I'm
Oh,
like, that's my
yeah.
name.
Did
And
people go for it?
yeah, people went for it. People still to this day be like, Merrick, it's you. And I'm like, don't ever say that again.
Oh, that's
But yeah, for like
awesome.
seventh and eighth grade,
Mhm.
I really thought I was super cool because well,
Yep.
I grew up weird. Like I was part Russian or part Ukrainian, part Slavic, and part American. And I didn't really fit in with any group because I was too Russian to be American, too American to be like full on
Yeah.
Slavic. So I just kind of chose which side I wanted to be on when.
That's interesting. Has that actually helped you as an adult, though?
Yeah, for sure. I have such a deeper appreciation for my culture. Being bilingual is
Yeah.
amazing. It's helped me just think differently. Also, being an immigrant, I don't think specifically being a Slavic immigrant, but just being an immigrant, seeing my parents start from come to this country with like $40 in their pocket, start from nothing, move to a whole different country, and then move across the country after that. And kind of like you, like seeing them chase their dream, especially my dad, is
Mhm.
just it's been very motivating for me, and it had its own hardships,
Yeah.
unsuccessful businesses, a lot of financial strain in my family, but I was just happy to see someone like chase their dream. And like most of the time, sure, it's not successful. Most businesses fail,
Yeah.
but that's part of the like my motivation. Part of my reason for doing this is there's like I know it's difficult, um, and I was just telling you off camera. One of the previous guests, our friend Vika, just got a new client, and the client said that they saw her on this podcast and they ended up reaching out and now they're doing work, and that made me so happy.
Yeah.
That's so excited. Just like something that I did help someone else that came on. Like that's the dream. And I'm if this ends up being a successful collaboration and they're able to, get what they want out of it, they're able to grow their business, that makes me happy. That makes me
Yeah.
so happy because now two people are winning.
Yeah.
And like I've always liked being in a position where I can put things together that help both parties win,
Yeah.
and this is this has been my dream. Like I love bringing people together, especially like with what you do or with like a lot of creative people do. Um, it is honestly doesn't even have to be creative. I could have an accountant here,
Yeah.
but honestly, I would argue that even accounting is creative.
I think so.
Yeah, I think everything is actually creative. Just like the act of being a human existing is creative in and of itself. Sure, some jobs may be a lot more technical, but
Yeah.
either way, when you can bring people together and they can help each other out, and there's like a 1+1 can equal 3 type of collaboration, that really makes me excited.
Yeah.
Um, but back to our topic, where were we?
Hey, I could go on this all. Yeah, I agree. So everyone's creative. That's
Yeah.
true.
Um, so you grew up moving around a lot. Your parents were doing what they love, or your dad was. And is your mom working?
Yeah. No. And my mom was stayed home with us. And really, so we actually didn't move around. I should clarify. We traveled a lot, but actually, my parents have lived in the same home for 45 years.
Mhm.
Definitely where I remember growing up. So there was this interesting uh, thing where we had a lot of stability because we would always go home, but we traveled a lot. So we also got to see a lot of the world, both like overseas and domestically. So, yeah,
And did you know that that wasn't normal growing up?
yes, I knew I wasn't normal, but I think as an adult, I realized how not normal it was.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think it's really interesting because I've always been an outsider. I've always felt like an outsider, and not even in a bad way. That's just how, yeah, because we grew up that way. Um, I also observed a lot because I wasn't part of something. So it's always been an interesting dynamic.
Yeah, you're like from the outside looking in.
Yeah. And now like that's not true, but I also I see patterns in, I'm still an observer. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think so. What you do full time is photography, right?
Yes.
I really think that observer, that like third
Yeah.
party viewing um, experience, or just the ability to look at something and observe, is what really makes a good artist or a good photographer or a
Hmm.
good creator.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. That's true. I have thought about that. I am kind of like the third party or the third person in whatever is happening. Um, and I mean, I kind of like it. I like being behind the scenes because you kind of know what's going on, but you're almost like you're not participating, but
There's,
everybody knows it.
yeah. No, I think there's a certain amount of safety in not participating.
Yes, there is.
Yeah.
So,
Does that make it difficult to get in front of the camera?
yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. But it also does make me realize how much people don't like being in front of a camera. So, um, that is something I try to think about when I'm photographing people in general. Because,
hmm
I mean, I've rarely met somebody who is like, wow, yay, let's get photos taken.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah.
No, that makes sense. I know I can speak from experience. It's difficult
Yeah.
looking at yourself and always
Mhm.
I'm very harsh.
Yeah.
I'm a very harsh person, especially when it comes to self-assessments.
Yeah.
Lord help me.
It's rough. And it's really interesting when people will always comment on how much they don't like looking or they don't like themselves. And these are like, yeah, confident people and all that stuff. And I think it's just the fact that like you're so critical of yourself. Also, I don't think we were not meant to look at ourselves.
I'd agree with that.
So like I think that's part of it too. But
Why do you think we're so like where does that come from? Why are we so critical of ourselves?
that is a good question.
Maybe it's because like you said, we're not meant to
Yeah.
be looking at ourselves or kind of thinking you can fall in a hole. You can fall into a hole whenever you're always
Yeah.
self-analyzing, like the truth is this is how you show up, and I think you can look at it and you can tweak some things and be like, well, I don't like how I do this, maybe I should fix that. But there's like a healthy line
There is.
and an
Yeah.
unhealthy line.
It's true.
And that can be difficult to navigate.
It's true. I think that it's also that we have a picture in our mind of I think what we look like, or I guess how we perceive ourselves. And so when we see a photograph of ourselves or video, then yeah, it's just a completely different idea of I think what we think we look like or
What do you
act
think is more difficult to see, a photo or a video of yourself?
Definitely video.
You think so?
Yes.
I guess it does have the voice and all the other stuff.
Yeah, I mean, at least you can there's a lot of things you can pretend in photos that video will.
In photos, I'll be like
reveal.
one eye half open, half closed. But do you think that confidence comes from a lack of that self-criticism, or in spite of?
I think it comes after. Like, I think I think confidence comes from probably facing the self-criticism. And I mean, for me, definitely it's when I learned like self-love, because then it's so much easier to accept myself and other people. And which takes, I think, a long time to figure out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe you grew up in a Christian environment, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Then this question is going to come with some
Yes.
with some baggage. But what do you think the relationship is between self-love and God's love for you?
I think it's one and the same.
Okay.
Because I don't think you can love God and not love yourself.
Why is that?
Because we are
Made in the image of God?
yeah. And also like I think we are part of God in that like I mean we came from because we came from God and God is love. I don't think we cannot love ourselves.
Yeah.
Without loving God. I don't know if that makes sense. I'm trying
It kind of makes sense. My next question is,
yeah.
Some people can take it too far and they treat themselves, the creation becomes the creator and you start treating yourself as if you're God. And I do think that's wrong.
That's true. Yes, there's
so
always
it can't be the same thing.
The radical middle is really where all truth lies. I mean, we live in an age of self-love in a way that's like actually not self-love. It's actually the irony of like truly loving yourself is that you learn what matters and what doesn't. And because you can care for yourself, you can care for other people. But when it becomes distorted and self-love's become all about protecting yourself, you actually cut off um, love,
I've
being
never
able
thought about it
to
that way.
love yourself and other people, because it becomes very selfish. So it is yeah. And since we live in such a thing of therapy and all this stuff, I'm not saying any of that is wrong. It's just make sure you're getting better, or then something's not right.
Yeah. I think a lot of times people become self-serving and they don't put themselves in situations where, I'm speaking about when I say people, I mean me, where you're just like, you don't put yourself in a situation that's difficult for yourself because you're like, I don't need this, or I don't, but sometimes that's where the
Yeah,
growth can come from.
it's true. I think too, though, as you get older, it's knowing whether it's a good idea or not.
Right. And I think that can only come with experience
Yes, it
because
can.
there's a lot of things that you just shouldn't do.
Yeah, it's true.
Not be like, sure, it might be a difficult situation. You might grow up, like, you should also maybe just avoid it too.
Also, avoiding is one of the best ways to just not get into trouble or do other things. It's true. Yeah, I just don't think you can know without time
Mm-hmm.
and wanting to get better. And I like self-improvement maybe a little bit too much. I go through phases, but um I'm never not changing, and I always think that's a good thing.
Yeah. What
But
did you,
also because I've seen myself, I like myself. So
how did you get to that point?
um not without struggle. Like I think um
Would you say that was the biggest change? Like
the
just going from not liking yourself to liking yourself? Or is there
definitely
a bigger change that happened?
I think it's increments. So like I kind of see it in phases of my life. So in maybe when I was late 20s and now late 30s, that's the biggest times that I've seen just like a turnover of like who I am in my thinking. And I don't know if it's just like,
I don't think it's just you.
okay, great. Well, that's great. I'm not alone. But yeah, I think you start to question a lot of things. And for sure in my 30s, I just started to notice patterns in myself that I didn't like. And yeah, I would just keep having these things coming up where other people were involved, but actually it was my response. I noticed. I was like, dang it. Like, why does that keep happening? Um,
Do you mind sharing what those things were? Those patterns that you found in yourself?
yeah, well, it was bitterness and resentment. And so like those things kept coming up and I was just like, what is happening? Like why? And it was only with certain things, like certain relationships.
Was it
And
people close to you?
yeah.
Yeah, it always is.
For sure. Because I
Yeah.
don't really care that much about like
Right.
people outside of, yeah.
It's hard for them to hurt you.
Yeah. So, but you know, it wasn't their problem. It was actually mine. So like, yeah, maybe they did things I didn't like, but ultimately after that pattern continued to show up, I was like, oh, this is a me problem.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I just went on a search for what was going on.
And then when you realize that, like, this might be a me thing and how I'm responding, how did you fix that? Because it's like, okay, cool. You've acknowledged, you realized.
Yeah.
Then, like, the first step is acknowledgement. Then the hard work begins. What was the hard work that you had to do?
Yes. I mean, facing yourself is the hardest thing you're ever going to do. And I think that's actually where self-love comes in because when you can look at yourself and not hate yourself, but not like what you see, there can be a lot of change. I think when you look at yourself, you don't want to look at yourself. Not a lot can change because there's a lot of shame that goes into all of that. And yeah, so I've just, yeah, I started with that. And then I started with prayer. And then I just, yeah, started the deep work of looking into stuff. And honestly, I've done a lot of work just like talking to friends. Like they are my therapy most of the time. But I've I noticed patterns. And I think the pattern that happened is when I was able to let myself be angry, that's when the bitterness and resentment started to like leave, because that's actually a byproduct of anger. And then anger is pointing to something else. So
Yeah.
it's just like, you know.
Yeah, no, the whole thing about anger pointing to something else was a huge revelation for me. So when I was
So
going,
helpful.
it is when I was going to therapy, my therapist gave us this flow chart, and it pretty much explained how these are emotions that you feel, and when you feel them, the important thing to do is to express them and to share them with another person, with God, with like whatever, but like express them.
Yeah.
And these are like quote unquote godly emotions, or like that are healthy to feel.
Yeah.
Then there's things like anger. I forget the other ones, but essentially not healthy emotions. And with those, what you have to do is dig deeper and figure out where the root of it is. And when you find the root, then you need to get to that and express it. And because you can't keep things bottled up, which is something that I realized, whether it's writing, talking to friends, you can't keep it inside.
Yeah.
Because if you do, it'll eat away at you, or it'll turn into anger, it'll turn into frustration, it'll turn into a million other things. And then that has its own pattern that is destructive.
Yeah.
Would you say that you're a verbal processor when you like express things to your friends? Do you have to say it, or are you able to deal with it on your own?
Both, actually. Actually, when you were asking what I did too, the other thing I did is morning pages. So it's basically just writing. There's no thought into it. So you just write 3 pages a day. And I did that for 3 months, and that actually was huge. So I am a verbal processor. I've learned that through, especially one of my friends. We do Voxer, which is like a walkie-talkie
I know
app.
Voxer.
Oh yeah. And it is crazy what talking will do, where you figure something out by just talking.
Yeah.
And I think because it's not a conversation and you're basically just talking to yourself.
You're more intentional.
Yeah. It's very interesting. So I do think it's both. I'm definitely both, but I've always been a journaler. So I think, especially when I need to process things, I need to like see it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think journaling is just thinking more clearly.
Yeah. So that's been very helpful for me. But
yeah. What advice would you give to someone was maybe in the same position that you were when you were struggling with this stuff? If you could pick one thing, what would you say?
I would say The Artist's Way really helped me a lot.
I'm not familiar.
It's a book by Julia Cameron, and it just came at the right time. It's basically a 3-month book, and you do a chapter a week.
Mm-hmm.
And it is actually the idea behind it is that everyone's creative, but it's also digging into a lot of like why either you don't think you're creative or why you're not doing the thing you want to do, and then like everything from like the lies you were told. It could have been a comment like when you were, in 3rd grade, and you realize that has informed all of your decisions, or just other things like that. So it's actually kind of like a self-guided therapy book. That's how I felt it was for me. Yeah. Otherwise, gosh, there's so many different ways that you can go about it. But I think the first thing is just acknowledging it and doing whatever you need to do to fix it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think the biggest lie that you've ever been told was?
I don't know if it was I don't think it was something that was told me. I think it was something like I believed. Maybe it wasn't directly told to me or like whatever.
I'll say my biggest one is one I've told myself. So.
Okay. So I think mine would be that I'm a bad person, or that being bad is bad. And like being good is you have to be good. So I don't know if that's how, like, just growing up and the environment I grew up in. I think it's also my personality. But I think when I realized very recently that wasn't a thing, there was like a lot of freedom in that.
What do you mean that's not a thing? Like, are you saying that that's just judgment?
Yeah, it was like self-judgment. And I think, the whole bitterness, resentment brought up so many things from my from what I believed, either about myself or things I picked up. And it's not something that somebody told me, but yeah, I think it was just like I um, picked it up from the environment I was in. But um, I think the whole good, bad thing also meant there were good and bad emotions. And so when I had a bad emotion, I didn't know what to do with that. So I felt like I couldn't express it.
You felt shameful for having it?
Yeah. So I think when all of that went away, there's so much freedom because there's no bad emotion. You just have to figure out what is going on, why that's happening.
Yeah.
And then figure out how to get rid of it, however that looks.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was the lie that you told yourself? Maybe you don't want to say, so that's fine.
I don't want to cry.
Just cut. It's fine.
No. I would just say that I'm not lovable.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't deserve to be loved. That
Yeah.
Not enough. All variations of those.
Yeah.
And yeah, I can't say that anyone ever told me that or shared that to me, but somehow it just got in and it just like finds its way through everything. But we're working on that.
Yeah.
It's really helpful to know that Jesus loves me.
Yeah.
That is extremely
It is
helpful because if he does and is willing to die for me, then I know that's not true.
Yeah. It's very true. And I think God's love has gotten me through everything.
But you've had a complicated relationship with Christianity, no?
It's true. Yeah. Well, the weird part is I wouldn't say I've had a weird relationship with Christianity in the church. I don't think I've really never had a complicated relationship with God.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Isn't it weird how institutions and all this other stuff can get in the way?
Yeah. Yeah. So, which actually probably goes back to how I grew up too. I just, if something doesn't work for me, I throw it out. And not because I have to throw it out forever or that it's wrong for everybody else. But if there's inconsistencies or patterns that don't work for me, I just let them go. And that's actually really served me, in my relationship with God because he's never let me down, actually. People do. I do. But I can only, and maybe that goes back to the confidence thing, but I can only say I'm here because of my belief that there's something better and that believes in me.
Yeah.
And in everybody else. That's the best part. I think the baggage comes when you're told something that may be true but becomes a doctrine or a dogma, or actually might not be true at all.
Yeah. So many people speak as if they know, as if they just have this revelation from God above that. And when they speak it, is I don't know, like it bothers me so much.
Yes.
I've just gotten to the point where I'm just like, maybe. Could be right. Could not be.
Could not be, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. I think knowing what I think as long as nothing gets in the way of you and God, it really doesn't. Yeah. Doesn't matter.
These people that speak like this, they have so much confidence.
Yeah,
and
they
sometimes
do.
I wonder,
yeah,
where does that confidence come from?
Boy, I think it comes from a lie. Or self-deception.
Yeah.
Now, yeah.
Well, how do you build confidence in your experience with everything that you've seen and done? How have you been able to live the life that you want to?
Yeah.
With the confidence that you're doing the right thing or on the right track?
Well, part of it is that I'm not confident. Like there's a lot of self-doubt. I think it's just because I know what I want. I think that the self-doubt will always go away. And what I want is freedom. And that won't change. That's just like an integral part of who I am.
Yeah. You think that comes from just your free childhood?
Yes, and I think it's just my personality. Yeah. Like I really envy people who can go to work and it doesn't really affect them. Like they can do any job and it's not a thing. And I've definitely seen this where I'm like, oh my gosh, like it doesn't affect your entire life or your whole personality. It does for me.
Yeah. Well, you could argue there's freedom in being able to do whatever, not having it affect your life.
That I know. I agree. I think there's a lot of freedom in that. So that would be great if I could do that. But yeah, I just know that that is not what works for me.
Mhm.
I also know as I've gotten older too, like I consider my life successful. I would love to see that success turn into something that actually like pays more than the bills. But I also don't doubt that I will be successful sometime at some point in my life.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm not worried about it. I really like late bloomers. I think they're the best kinds of people because and statistics back this up that like most people like really have something to start something in their 40s. Um because it's trial and error. Like they've done so much plus you've had like at least 20 years of like figuring stuff out.
Yeah. And remember the post you sent us this week
Yes.
about how
So
did
good.
how did he phrase it? He said there's essentially clean feedback and dirty feedback.
Yes.
And how there's a lot of games you play in life have results and you can learn from them right away because there's instant feedback and you would consider that clean.
Yeah.
And there's other things that are dirty in that it takes a lot of time, reflection before you get the answer out of it.
Yeah.
And life is just one of those things where you have to go through a lot and then in your 40s it'll click and
Yeah.
then you'll like figure it out.
And then you'll figure it out. Yeah.
When you said that you're a fan of late bloomers, that just made me smile because I feel like I am a very late bloomer.
Yeah. I think I've always known I'm going to be a late bloomer. And again, I say this with confidence, which is hilarious because I don't even know what that would look like. I just, yeah, I love late bloomers. I like that. Instant success is actually boring to me. And I think it's because when you see the struggle that people have gone through, it's just way more interesting. It's also way more applicable.
Relatable, applicable, yeah.
Yeah. I just watched Harrison Ford's acceptance speech. It's like a lifetime achievement at the SAGs. And he was like, I found my calling and then it took 15 years before I, then he did Star Wars and his life changed forever. But like 15 years is a long time. And yeah, I think deciding what you want and then going after it can be really hard. But it's just cool to see people struggle and then actually succeed. So
I had a really good sermon at church this week.
Yeah.
Where it was about the miracle of turning water into wine and how the servants had to fill up 8 whole huge not vases, whatever they're called.
Yeah.
Things of water. And the water didn't turn into wine like right away. They had to fill up painstakingly 8 huge things of water first. And in that process, like a lot of times God will wait for the process to happen and then give you the thing after you've done the hard work, not before.
Yeah.
And a lot of people expect it before. But you just have to like not spend 15 years, but in his case, he did. A lot of our cases, we have to do what we do a long time spend a lot of time doing the work before we get a revelation or, feel something.
Yeah, it's true. Well, I just believe in suffering because
I'm a big fan of suffering too.
Yeah. I think suffering really teaches you a lot and it sucks. But like I think suffering is one of the best things because you have to do something with it. It's not a
Do you?
Actually, you don't. Which actually I'm more surprised by people who choose to continue suffering when they don't have to. I guess yeah, I've always known I need help, so I'm going to find help.
Mm-hmm.
I think you have to get uncomfortable enough or desperate enough. And I think desperation is a really important important piece of anything because you will do anything to get better. And I think true suffering allows you that desperation. And otherwise, you actually live in discomfort thinking you're comfortable. And that I really trust suffering.
Yeah.
So,
Very relatable.
yeah.
Truer words have never been spoken. Because it's easy to die a death of a million paper cuts of just slight discomfort every day and not being happy and
Yeah.
having that weigh you down and drag you down and just end up bleeding out.
You do, but you're so used to the paper cuts, you forget. You're just like, oh, I guess this is it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas when you're suffering and just grasping for air,
Yeah.
you will do drastic and extreme things to
Yeah.
get back.
Yeah. I love it. And I think like suffering also has to have a purpose. So, but also I've seen so many people who avoid suffering and create their own suffering through that, which actually is the worst kind because it's avoidable.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. It's always interesting. But
That's really good.
yeah.
It's true. It's avoiding suffering is suffering. I forgot where, but I've heard someone else speak on this, and it really, really opened up my mind to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think suffering is how you, in the end, grow confidence.
It's true. Yeah.
Because if your confidence is based on nothing,
Oof.
it can shatter. But if your confidence is based on hard work, suffering, sacrifice, all those things, like you are, like I think sports are a very good analogy.
Yeah.
Like the person who is confident in their performance knows they've like spent the time practicing. They have the hours under their belt.
Mm-hmm.
They've done the thing a million times. That's why they're confident. Because like I've already done this.
Yes.
This one time is just another time that I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And that is the long tail of suffering, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I always love sports for that reason. Not that I play them, but I
was about to ask.
But I love sports stories for that reason. I also love, like, the Olympics just happened, and I loved the few stories that came out of that. The two that I heard were the gold medalist, the women's gold medalist, Alyssa Liu, is that right? I can't, and the freestyle skier.
What did you like about Alyssa's story?
Well, first of all, I love watching. I grew up watching figure skating in the Olympics, so that's like basically what I watched. It's just fun to watch. But what's interesting is that even not knowing that much about the actual sport and scoring, you immediately pick up on people who are stiff or who are there to like win. And people who are there to like because they love it. And there's an effortlessness. And it's actually I think it's way more rare for it to be effortless. But I watched her and I cried because I was like, she was having so much fun and there was so much joy. Like, there was so much joy. And then not only did she go on to like the flawless, most beautiful performance, but she quit figure skating when she was 16 because of too much pressure. And when she decided she wanted to come back, she decided on her own terms, and it actually made her stronger. And she didn't figure skate every day. She didn't work out every day. It was all these different things that seem counterintuitive, but are actually the thing that make you the best. All while she didn't want to be the best. She wanted to be the best version of herself. And she actually said, I love struggling. And I think that's part of it. You have to love struggling, but also like because you get that confidence of being like, I can do this. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Yeah. No, that was a very inspirational story. And I think that, like you said, whenever someone is pretending, it's so easy to see right through it.
Yeah.
And that's like the false confidence. You know, that's where that comes from, where you can just tell in someone.
Yeah.
But with her, I watched her performance as well. There was this joy that's just so hard to replicate.
Yeah.
But it was soulful. Like you could tell her whole essence and being was into this, and she was actually having fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And so who was the other story? The skier?
Gosh, and I can't think of her name, but she's only 22 and she's just so well spoken. But she talks about how sports is like one of the best things to get into, especially when you're young, because you have like quantifiable evidence. She's like, you try something and then you get better. And that's really important because it does build your confidence. She's like, it's not like I go out one day and like, I don't feel this way. It's like, I know I can do this. I've proved to myself I can do this. So it helps with your mind. And then I loved because she was talking about how your thinking, you can change your thinking and you can change your life based on how you change your thinking.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, those two stories were just really inspirational because these are like the best of the best. And yeah, they've proved it to themselves and then the world, but I don't think it was, and also she didn't even get into freestyle skating or skiing. She was a track star and somebody suggested she do it. And then she started freestyle skating. So, or skiing again, it's just this, I don't know. It's really interesting to hear people's stories, and I don't think they're linear, which I love.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about photographing sports, or have you photographed any sports?
Not in a long, no, not like seriously, not since I was actually been good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But sports could be really fun.
They are fun. I photographed a little sports, beach volleyball. It was super fun.
Oh yeah, that would be really fun.
It was super fun. Something about seeing the emotion. It's just so raw.
Yeah.
I think it's one of those places where it's okay to yell after like you mess up or after you do something really good. I think that was my favorite thing of playing volleyball or playing other sports. It's just like after you do something, like you make a big play, you just let it out, you know? I do have a very embarrassing story that I don't know if I can share on air, but I'll tell you off air about where that goes too far. But
I can't wait.
No, it's an amazing thing. I would say sports have played a large part in shaping me, but again, late bloomer. Like I grew up playing some sports. I don't think I was very good at anything.
Yeah.
I was also like 6'4" and 140 pounds. Like it was late bloomer. But eventually in my 20s, I got really into sports. And that became like a whole personality and outlet for me, but also it taught me discipline, taught me repetition, built my confidence, a lot of things.
Yeah.
Yeah. When it comes to your work,
Mm-hmm.
so you're a full-time photographer now, right?
Yep.
How long have you been doing that?
Good question. So in my early 20s or mid 20s, I did wedding photography and really enjoyed it, but knew I didn't want to do that long term. Then I went through a season of not knowing what I wanted to do, and did a lot of different things. And yeah, I quit photography altogether. And it's only been last year in 2025 that I went full time again. But the interesting thing about this time around is I really love working with businesses and more on the commercial side of photography. So I've been doing it. I think I did it 12 years, either full or half time. Yeah. And then starting again, which is interesting starting again because it is easier to start something younger because you can really, my self-doubt is almost worse this time around than it was when I was younger and didn't know anything. So I'm trying to learn to not know anything again and just do it because that's actually the only thing that really matters.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just getting better at the wedding photography. It's all photojournalistic. So you don't have to worry about lighting or anything else.
Yeah. You're just capturing.
So yeah, my job has been for myself has just been to get better at directing, lighting, all of those things that I really did not know. Yeah.
What would you say brought you back to photography?
Realty, because that's what I did prior to this. And I think the thing I realized is that I've always loved photography, like since I was little. And I, why not do that? Why not make money at something I like a little bit more than something that I didn't have to? Yeah, there's plenty of ways to make money.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I already know how to do that and I like it. So I might as well do that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Would you say that your confidence outside of photography has influenced your work when it comes to photography?
definitely. Yes.
How do you think it shows up?
Um,
Because 20 years of photography is a long time. Like,
I know.
you learn a lot, and then you have to learn how to unlearn.
Yes.
It's a whole journey.
It's all the things. I think the one thing is no matter what circumstance I'm in photography, like my previous experience taught me not to freak out. So, because with weddings, everything is like so fast, you just kind of capture things. And if something goes wrong, the best thing you can do is not let anyone know. And so, that definitely taught me a lot. And also, you really have to improvise with weddings, especially if you're doing, depending on the lighting. So, I think it's learning that no matter what, I will get something
Yeah.
and it will be good. I think that's what is good. And also, like, I love working with people, and I do think I put people at ease, even though they don't like being in front of the camera.
What would you say is the biggest difference between photographing people and working with businesses?
Mm. Photographing people, it's pretty straightforward for the most part. Like, you can have fun, be a little artistic. Working with businesses now, it's more like asking them what they want the photos for. So being more strategic, because I actually want the photos to work for them. I don't want to just take nice photos for them. And so that's the thing that I've been really leaning into.
What does that mean for, like, different people have a different definition of that?
Yeah.
What do you see people, or what do you see businesses, like, what are their goals with these photos?
So a lot of it is like they either want it for social media, website, and all that stuff. Some of it is print.
But what do they want it to do?
See, and that's, I think, what they don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And that can be hard to continue. Like, when you ask it and that they give you those.
Yeah, it's for social media.
Yeah. And you're like, okay.
Right, I understand
Yeah.
where it's going.
Yes.
Like, what do you want this to accomplish?
Yeah. So I'm still learning how to ask for clarity, but sometimes they don't know because they don't know how to tell their story. I think that's part of it.
Well, what are the possible outcomes?
For not telling their story, or what do you mean?
No. I think a photo is worth 1,000 words.
Yeah.
Those words can be anything. It's just like a book. What's the book about? What's it make you feel? Like, there's 1,000 words, but what are the words?
Yes.
What are the things that a photo can accomplish?
Yeah, it's basically accomplishing a story in a single frame, and a really good one tells exactly what you do and who your audience is. Like, that's the best case scenario.
Yeah.
There's no questions.
Yeah. You just see it and you automatically resonate.
Yeah.
You feel whatever the intention is to feel.
Yeah.
And I think that's some of the work that businesses, people, at the end of the day, it's people.
Yeah.
That people need to do when they get clear on their goals and be like, I want a photo shoot that makes people feel safe.
Yeah.
Or makes them feel confident in me. Or makes them feel seen by me. Yeah. Or, whatever the goal is. And it's different than product photography.
Very different.
Product photography is just like, make my product look good.
Yeah.
And that's actually, I think, one of the amazing things about the technology that we have. Right now, Google just released a new product in their labs that essentially you can upload any photo and get all the product photography shots you can imagine with it. And it's so good. It's so amazing. I'm never going to hire a product photographer again. I think most people probably won't either.
Yeah.
But that's okay because, it's tough for someone that's a product photographer.
I know.
But the world's changing.
Yeah. It really is. It's interesting. It'll be interesting to see what happens in 5 years, 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what won't be replicated is someone showing up in real life, capturing a real moment and transferring a real emotion.
Yeah, there is something really powerful about um, photos too, because it truly is a moment in time, like 1 second, and then it's like you move on, and you don't realize how important they are until you look back again. You're like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's so interesting. I think it's one of these things where a lot of people don't think it's valid work for some reason.
I know,
And it's so important.
it's so
I
important.
think it's extremely important. And people pay a lot of money for portrait photographers, for like very good
Yeah,
photographers. But so many people don't value it and don't care about it. And I don't know if it's that they don't realize the value in the work, or
yeah,
I'm not sure what it is, but very underrated.
it's underrated.
Yeah.
I think it'll be interesting um, with AI. This is my thought: is that actually I think photography is going to get more real again and more gritty, because people are going to get so tired of, I mean, I already do, of seeing like the perfect,
Mm-hmm.
where like I want to see something that feels more like real life,
Mm-hmm.
or yeah, because AI can produce a perfect image if that's,
Yeah.
yeah, and that's boring actually.
I think
So
Adam Mosseri, the CEO of Instagram, came out and said that essentially what you're saying, that because AI will create all these perfect moments, people are going to be more drawn towards imperfect moments and
yeah,
imperfect frames and shots and things that feel less perfect. But AI can create those too,
I know.
which is interesting.
It is interesting. Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how that works, but yeah.
Yeah. As far as underrated jobs, would you say that photography has been the most underrated job that you've had?
Yeah.
Really?
I've underrated it.
You've
If
underrated it.
nothing else, I have.
Tell me
Yeah.
more.
I mean, because actually I really enjoy it. It's like the best kind of work, because I like working alone, but half of it is alone and half of it is with people. And so like photography is a collaboration. You're working with whoever your client is, and um so that's really fun. And then so you get the people side of it, and then you also get the more like quiet um editing side of
Yeah,
it.
reflective,
Yes.
observatory, or
Yes. Yeah. So I like it because it's both. And you also are like, have a lot of different scenarios you're put in. So yeah, sometimes it's like you're almost part of something for however long you're there. When it was weddings, it was like you're kind of part of the wedding party, but not, which was yeah, like I said, kind of great. So, and the same thing is true. Yeah, with business.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm just really curious. I know I asked you to bring a list
Yep.
of all the jobs that you've had,
Uh-huh.
because you told me, self-proclaimed, you've had an insane amount of jobs that have just really helped shape who you are.
Yeah.
I've been dying to know what they are. So if you don't mind, would you mind introducing
Yes.
the list and these jobs that you've had?
These are 8 jobs ranked worst to best that helped me build confidence.
All right. I cannot wait. I know the first one, but go ahead and show everyone else.
Okay, here we go. Number 1, worst, is a server.
I already have beef with this. I already have beef. That was my favorite job that helped me build a lot of confidence. I did it for a long time,
Yeah.
and it put me in so many social situations where I just had to think on my feet.
Yeah.
I have so many reasons why this would be like number 1 on my list, but let's hear why is this your least or the worst job that can help you build confidence?
It's really interesting because I was actually pretty good at it. And I agree with you. I think it helped me build confidence because it was you just had to think on your feet all the time, and you're doing 10 things at once.
Right.
So it's both like back of house and front of house, or like, admin and public relations, let's say.
Did you like back of house or front of house more?
So actually at the time I was serving, I liked more front of house.
Mm-hmm.
Now I like more back of house. So yeah, but I will say it taught me a lot about how to interact with the public. And if something went wrong, it taught me, so much about how I needed to act. Most of it was being like, I'm sorry. What can I do?
Taking ownership, being
Taking
like,
ownership.
I'm sorry I messed that up,
Yeah.
or I forgot to put your order in,
Yes.
or I totally forgot about your table.
Yes. So sorry. But then you also did learn when people were trying to get something for free. So you did read people. You started to read people well too.
Yeah.
But now I disliked it because actually I'm task oriented. So it would stress me out because I would have finished one table and then they'd leave and I have to do that table all over again. So yeah, it tired me out.
Yeah. Like I said, but it's definitely helpful. So I mean, that's why it made the list.
You're right. So I mean, to be fair, least favorite job does build high confidence. Everyone should serve at some point because it's tough.
Wait, what was your best night that you ever made as a waiter, as a server?
Oh, like amount of money?
Yeah, tips.
This was like back in the 2005.
Okay, so inflation.
Yeah.
We got to count for inflation.
Probably $80 to $100.
Okay, in today's money, that's $200.
Yeah. So like wasn't terrible at the time, especially for where I lived. But yeah.
That's probably me too.
Yeah.
I had so much fun. So my caveat is I worked with all my friends.
Oh.
It was all my buddies and me.
That's odd. Where'd you work?
So there was a restaurant in town called Panos. It was a Greek restaurant. My boss is Greek. And I grew up with an immigrant father. So I'm very used to this. I'm very used to the immigrant.
You just knew.
I knew what I was signing up for. I was cool with it. Not everybody was. Not everybody knew. But we had a good time. It was honestly, I would really love to have him on sometime.
Oh my gosh.
No, it was the best of times. It was the worst of times, but we had a lot of fun. And I think I spent over 5 years doing it.
Yeah.
Maybe it was a while. I honestly don't even know how long, but a lot of great lessons.
It's true.
I would never want to go back and do it again.
Yeah.
But it definitely taught me a lot. It definitely taught me how to stay calm under pressure because there was so much going on.
Yes.
But in my ADHD self had to learn, but it was a really good learning experience.
Yeah.
I never made as much as my friends, but I really enjoyed it. I love talking to people. Like, I'd love to come up to a table and like make a grandma laugh. You know what I'm saying?
I bet the old ladies loved you.
They did, yeah.
That's the best. I will say it is invaluable. Serving is invaluable.
What's the best lesson that you learned? The top.
Oh gosh. There's not much you can control except yourself. So and also I think learning to perform under pressure and being fine.
Yeah.
Nobody knows. And I think that is huge.
Absolutely. My favorite thing about it was how fast time would go whenever the rush hits.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, the night's over.
Yes. Least favorite, side work.
Side work? Yeah.
I hated it.
I know.
Yeah.
Salad bar.
Yeah.
Kill me.
Kill me. It was actually the ice cream machine for me.
Yeah?
We had to clean the ice cream machine. It was awful. You had to get all the ice cream out, all of it.
That's terrible.
Yeah, it was terrible. So it's fine.
Okay.
Number 2, I was a donut maker for a while.
No way.
Yep. Or in less appropriate terms, I was a carny for a little bit. My sister lived in Florida and she worked also for a carny. And so I would go down in the wintertime when I was a wedding photographer and help them out. Very fascinating because it wasn't just that you were making donuts. It was the people you were working alongside.
Sounds terrifying.
Yes.
Tell
Especially
me.
just not so much the people who worked directly for the company I was working with. They were like a Mennonite Amish company, but a lot of people had made this their life work or they'd been in it their whole life. You just met a lot of characters, some good, some not.
Mm-hmm.
It was very fascinating. I have very fond memories of it, but I hated the actual work.
Mm-hmm.
But there was this guy named Chuck, and he did cotton candy, but he had grown up in this whole world of like circus, fair and festival stuff. And yeah, so I'd say like my favorite was just you just worked hard for like 12 to 14 hours.
Mm.
And you slept really well, and you would do it for like 10 days and then get off. So you'd work really hard for a little bit, get off, like have time to get
Yeah.
off. So it did teach, like it just taught you how much like you can do, especially when your body gets used to something. So I would do it for like a month or two,
Yeah.
and the first event would be really hard, and by the end you're just kind of like, yeah,
I got this.
it's fine. So it's very interesting.
Okay.
Also, highly recommend just meeting some carnies. So.
I will probably not take that advice.
I will probably not do that. Yeah, it's true.
I'm scared of carnies.
Characters, for
Okay.
sure. Number 3, realtor. I just did that in my recent past. And
I also was a realtor.
yeah, that's right. For how long?
Not long. Like a summer.
Yeah.
And then I realized I like taking photos and building websites way
Yeah,
more.
that seems better. I think the thing I liked about realty was the people.
Yeah.
Both like the people I worked with and like literally in my brokerage and then my clients, but everything else was a lot. So, yeah, I learned a lot of valuable lessons, but
What was the best lesson that you learned?
I think that being consistent is really, really important in business, which is something I am working on at this point. But yeah, just showing up and not being embarrassed to show up. There's a lot, I don't know how you feel about this, but yeah, learning that actually what I used to think was like bothering people is actually telling them you care. And I used to see that as the opposite, where I'm like, I don't want to bother you. I won't, and really the people that do well in really anything, but what I noticed in realty is like the people who just showed up consistently and also weren't embarrassed for what they were doing, which is now something I am trying to apply to my current business. So
yeah, that's a huge lesson. I feel like realtors get a bad rep because they just like put their face everywhere and
yeah,
just always are showing up, but that's kind of what you have to do. And also, you're right. A lot of people actually don't have that many people that care about them.
yeah.
So whenever you have a friendly face, like a realtor, check in on you, and it can feel very heartwarming.
Yeah.
How did that help you build confidence?
Definitely with realty, it's really hard, especially when you first start. And you actually, every other job I had, you're not having to, you're basically just, you're a lawyer, but not. Like you are talking to another person and you're the in-between of two parties. And
then it can get like very emotions go high,
yes.
discrepancies show up, and like high pressure situations, different than being a server.
Yes.
But a lot more on the line.
Yeah, a lot more on the line.
I can definitely see how that would.
Lots of pressure. So that did teach me, again, different but the same, where it's just like grace under pressure, but also realizing like you don't have to people can be really disrespectful, especially realtors, actually, realtor to realtor. Most of them are great in Harrisburg, honestly. But yeah, it taught me to stand up for myself, which was great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say another thing for me was just knowing that I can read and write contracts.
Yes.
Was huge because I'm like, I'm not intimidated by this.
It did still terrify me that I could mess up one thing and mess up someone's entire life.
Yeah.
That never went away for me, which is maybe an issue, but all right, number 4, social media manager.
Okay.
I did it just like on the side for people, and it was not my favorite, but at the same time, I didn't hate it. So I I think what I learned was that I was really good at copy when I needed to be.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah, no, copy is like most of the post.
yeah, it is. Um,
Very underrated.
very underrated. And that was fun. But
I,
also, I think social media management taught me to say no
yeah.
because a lot of people have asked me to do it, and um, it's I'm fine at it. I just don't. It's just one more thing I don't need to do.
Yeah.
So
I would argue that managing social media is very different than creating for
very
social media.
different. Yes.
And whenever you're a manager, you're more planning and organizing and scheduling,
Mm-hmm.
and it's kind of strategy, but it's a little different.
Yeah.
Um, but I think what's nice about it is you can. Everyone says they can do it,
Yeah.
and if you actually can do it, you should be able to show results.
Yeah.
And that is the nice thing about social is like it's the new website, it's the new portfolio, it's the new everything.
Yes.
It's you can just look at my results
Yeah.
and judge me
Yeah.
instead of me promising you all these things. You can just like look at this account I manage.
Yeah.
And all the results are there. And people trust that more because it's harder to fake.
Yeah.
You
It's
can't
true.
like you just be like, look, I made this, we put it out, this is the result that it got. This is the impact that it created.
Yeah.
And that's to me, that's confidence. That builds my confidence.
Yeah.
When I can show results and they're not like they're within my control as far as what I create,
Yeah.
but the response isn't. And that's nice.
Yeah.
Or it can be.
It's true. Yeah. You're right. It is also so much. It is your website these days. Not that you don't need one, but that's what people are going to look at first. That's what I do.
That's what I do too.
Yeah.
Before I go to someone's website.
Yeah.
Well, it depends. Honestly, it still kind of depends what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
But a lot of times I'm finding them. I'm discovering on social media.
Yeah.
I'm not discovering on Google as much.
No. Same. So yeah,
Okay.
valuable, but not something I want to do outside of my own business.
Yeah.
So.
Would you
It-
mind showing the camera a little more?
Oh, so yes.
Perfect.
Can see that.
Number 5.
Dishwasher.
Okay.
I know.
Also was a dishwasher.
Yes. This was my very first job.
Okay.
And it was when I first did it, I remember coming home and first day, I was probably 15 and my mom asked how it was. And I was like, it's worse than school. So that was just the harsh reality of working for the rest of my life. But I really actually enjoy dishwashing now because it's an instant result. You have a dirty dish and you wash it and it's clean. And at the end of the night, you're done. So
Noble. Very noble work. It's not much, but it's honest work.
it's true. It's not much, but it's that's exactly right. You can and necessary. So
Yeah. You're
Yeah.
needed. There's a instant need,
yeah,
instant
it's
conclusion.
nobody cares about you, but if without you, nothing would run. So
Yeah. How did that help you build confidence? Just having that instant result, or like there's a job to be done and
yeah, I think job to be done. And since I am task oriented, like I'm gonna
clean those
get it.
dishes.
Let's go.
Next tray, please.
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm a very efficient dishwasher.
Are you?
Say that. Yes.
I'm not. I will say I spent a
Oh.
lot of time. Well, it depends. Sometimes you have to like hand wash, and sometimes you have the
That's
machine.
true. That's true.
It depends. If I'm hand washing, I spend a little too much time with the warm water, just
Yeah.
like reflecting on life. I've always found that I think better when I'm doing manual labor.
Yes.
And if I'm like, whether it's washing dishes or whatever, but if I can just sit there and do something, my brain
Yeah.
gets super active.
And I think that's why I do like dishwashing too, because that is true. You're not doing other things. It's like your brain can go somewhere else or do something else because your body, I think it's scientific, like our body doing something helps us, or monotonous too,
Yeah.
helps us be able to think better
Okay.
or think through things. So there's that.
Right on.
Number 6, Airbnb host. Currently, I'm an Airbnb host. My sister
Okay.
and I have 2 Airbnbs, just like little separate apartments in our homes. And it's great. I love it. I love hospitality. I think it is very rewarding, especially when the feedback is exactly what you want it to be, which is like creating a space um, that is beautiful and comfortable.
It makes people feel a certain way.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that is the feedback we get. And that's what I want when I travel. And so it's so nice to be appreciated for that. And that, like, whether they would say this or not, like, you can always sense love in a place.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we get the 3 adjectives are rest, peace, and comfort. So
I love that.
yeah.
I can't say I'm an Airbnb host, but I can say I'm a podcast host.
Oh, see?
So
Yeah.
I can relate to that. I think whenever I get a compliment from the studio, from something that I've made that put like my time,
Yes.
heart, and money into, and I want people to feel a certain way, and they do come in and they do feel that way, it's the greatest joy in the world.
Yeah.
And it just reaffirms like, okay, I can do this. Oh, I can craft the feeling that I desire. I can make people feel a certain way.
Yeah.
So I can relate to that. I totally love that.
Yeah.
There's no better feeling.
I know. It's great. And comfort above all is actually very important. Or cozy comfort. That's very important.
For sure.
7 is renovator.
I think your knee is a little bit in the way.
Oh, gosh. Let me just put the here. Nope. Still. There we go.
There we go. Renovator. Okay.
Renovator, which is actually I renovated my own home. So technically, this wasn't my job. I did pay some people, but I did some of the work, and I also designed everything. So
that must have been where the suffering came in.
What's that?
That must be where the suffering came in.
Yes. It is suffering, that's for sure. I'm not super handy, but anything that is like simple-ish I can do. So, but it doesn't mean it's easy. I did the floors. I did not do all of the floors, but I did stain the floors. I got someone to do the super hard work, and it's hard. Being on your knees all day and also making sure the consistency is right is awful, and cleaning all of the dust off is awful. I also painted everything. But also I love the design part of renovating too. So
yeah. This is really high up on your list. Second.
I love it.
Second to first, or this is the second thing on your list for the most.
I know. It's getting to reimagine something.
Yeah.
So, because I don't like new things. I want to take an old space and make it new. And yeah, it's just super fun.
How did that help your confidence? Do you feel like you can walk in and do anything now? Like you can take a place?
Yeah, yes, I could.
Yeah.
Now, could I do all the work? No.
But you can take the steps that you need to get there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
sure.
Very important. And pretty affordably too, as long as I find the right person. So great. And then 8 is photography.
Okay. Yeah. Now break this one down. Why is this the most confidence building thing that you've done so far?
I think because I like it the most. But also you actually get almost instant feedback a lot of the time.
Mm-hmm.
And unlike a lot of other jobs, you do get a lot of affirmation for what you do. Like, people thank you for what you do. It's not.
I'd say they're very thankful that they feel seen.
Yes.
And that doesn't just get passed around. Like that is a very rare compliment.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. And I think doing it is a gift. So when people trust me to do it for them, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean, I think that we touched on this earlier, but good photographers are super rare. And honestly, I think even if you're not a good photographer, I think everyone should be a photographer.
Yeah.
So life happens to everyone. Anyone can capture moments. Everyone has a phone.
Yeah.
Everyone is a photographer.
Yes.
When I say a good photographer, I mean someone who's practiced the craft, that's spent a lot of time thinking about it, trying to improve at it, and has something that they can create that other people want to be a part of.
Yeah.
Or they want to be created in their image, so to say.
Yeah.
That's rare. There's very few people that can command that. But if you can, that is extremely valuable and extremely confidence building.
That's true.
That, like, I want you. I don't want someone else. I want you.
It's true. And I think the best thing is when, also speaking of confidence, when actually that translates to other people seeing their photo.
Yes.
And them feeling confident.
Okay, so it's from your side and from their side.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there is something special that happens when you see a really good photo of yourself.
Yeah, it's true.
You, like, reimagine how you see yourself.
Yeah.
Like, that is what I look like. This is.
Which I think is really important because,
And a lot of times, like, Holden and I were talking about this. Like, you want people to see how beautiful they are.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they don't see it because we all have this very, very self-critical, harsh tone with ourselves, or I do at least.
Yeah.
And you just don't think you're beautiful. You don't see yourself that way. But you, as the photographer, it's easy to see yourself and think that. It's easier to look at someone else and find beauty in them. And as a photographer, if you can take that, capture it, and show the other person and convince them that this is how the world sees you, or this is how I see you.
Yeah.
And that this is how they should see themselves. It's a very powerful thing.
Yeah.
It builds confidence for everyone involved.
It's true. It's also a huge compliment when that does happen with me, or for me too. But because, it's not just how you look. It's actually when you can capture somebody's essence, which.
Yeah. And how they feel in the moment too. There's so much that goes into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's very fun.
Well, I would really highly recommend you working with Amelia if you need some photography.
Yes,
so photography that captures your essence. If people want to reach out to you and get in contact with you, where can they find you?
They can find me at ameliaschmid.com. Or if you want to find me on Instagram, amelia.schmid.photo, or contact at ameliaschmid.com if you want to email me. So
perfect. Well, Amelia, thank you so much for coming on.